Holcomb. I'm a registered nurse. I've been with you guys for a few months now, volunteering at VIM, and I really appreciate the opportunities that you provided me here. I enjoy working with you guys. You do a great job, and you help a lot of folks here. So thank you for bringing me in and letting me work with you guys and do my clinical experience here, and now I'm going to continue to volunteer with y'all.
Yay!
Just so
Great.
much.
Great.
So today I'm going to do a presentation on obesity, and the name of my presentation is Obesity is Weighing Us Down. Okay. So we're going to talk first of all about obesity and what it is. So let's talk about body mass index, or your BMI. It's the measurement of your weight in relation to your height. It's calculated by the adult's weight in kilograms divided by the square of the height in meters. When you get this number, you can easily, it's pretty much defined down here. If you're a healthy weight, it would be an 18.5 to 24.9. If you're overweight, 25 to 29.9. And if you're obese, you have a BMI of greater 30 or greater. Okay? Underweight, of course, anything below 18.5. I used to be that. It's been a long time. So is obesity a problem in the United States? I think we all probably know that it is, and it's getting worse instead of better. Right now we're looking at 68.5% of adults are overweight or obese. So that means a BMI of 25 or higher. Not only is it affecting adults, but children as well. 31.8% of children and adolescents are overweight or obese, and 30.4% of low-income preschoolers are overweight or obese. Now, is obesity a problem for our VIM patients? Nadia was so kind as to let me go into the chart room up front and do an audit. So I randomly selected 55 charts. And of course, you guys are very good about documenting your BMI in there. 58% of those patients had a BMI of 30 or over. So that is a cause for concern, of course. What are we going to do? This is really a problem and it's an issue. So, trying to poke around, of course, these patients are low-income patients. So what do they struggle with? Why, is it really a problem for everybody? Is it just low-income patients? Why, it is a problem for everybody. They struggle more than people who have moderate to high incomes. Not only do they have obesity, but it's usually coupled with things like high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, cancer, and heart disease. So it's very rare that you just see someone that's obese that they don't have any other health issues. So this speaks for itself. I had to put the slide in there. I really liked it, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I think it pretty much, like I said, speaks for itself. Okay, so let's talk a few minutes about why the low-income population is vulnerable to obesity. So we're going to go through these, and then we're going to talk about each of them for just a few minutes. There's limited resources and lack of access to healthy and affordable foods. There's fewer opportunity for physical activities, cycles of food deprivation and overeating, and high levels of stress. So when you talk about limited resources and low-income neighborhoods, a lot of times they don't have full-service grocery stores in the low-income neighborhoods. Shopping can be limited to small convenience stores where there's not healthy foods. Food is more expensive, healthy foods, which we know that, but we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Healthy food, especially fresh produce, is often of poor quality than what you would find in higher-end grocery stores, and a greater availability of fast food restaurants. And we know that there's all kinds of fast food restaurants, and it's easy to access them, and it's cheap when you can get a full meal for $4. It's very convenient. So the next thing, there's fewer opportunities for physical activity. Fewer physical activity resources. They don't always have parks, green spaces, recreational facilities. Crime is a big issue. People just don't want to get up and go walking because, you know, their neighborhood, there's a lot of crime there. It's not safe. Unsafe playground equipment. A lot of times if there is a playground, it's not maintained, and so it's unsafe for the children. Physical activity resources may not be attractive. There's visible signs of trash, disrepair, and there's a lot of noise. They also suffer from cycles of food deprivation and overeating. A lot of times they skip meals. They're not, you know, eating 3 meals a day, and so then when they do eat, they have a tendency to overeat. I love this little. We always say our eyes are bigger than our stomach, but the little stomach. I don't know if you can see him back here, but he said we can't eat the whole pie. We just can't. And the eye said we can and we will. So. They're also under a high level of stress, and I think these days everybody's under stress, but I think that the low-income population, they, you know, have a lot of stress when you talk about anxiety and depression, financial and emotional pressures that they have, low wage work, lack of access to health care, and thank goodness you guys are very good about helping out with that. Or I should say we guys. Inadequate transportation, poor housing, and neighborhood violence. So now we know kind of some of the struggles that they have with eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle. So let's talk about barriers to a healthy diet. Lack of time, lack of motivation, lack of resources, lack of knowledge, and my favorite is cost of healthy foods. So let's just compare for a few minutes, healthy versus unhealthy. We all know that chicken breast is healthier than chicken thighs, has less fat, right? Chicken breast for 4, $6.83 versus your thighs, $3.48 for 4. Ground beef, you have the leaner ground beef, $93.7, $6.10 a pound, as opposed to your fattier beef, $73.27 at $2.88 a pound. Grapes, $2 pounds you can get for $3.98, but you can buy a snack box of gummies for $2, loaded with sugar. Brown rice, $3.48 to $1.16 for your white rice. Whole wheat bread's $1.62, and your white bread $1.12, and that's the Great Value brand at Walmart. Okay. Let's talk a minute about processed foods. They're everywhere and they're convenient, and everybody wants to eat them because they're quick and fast. But what are some of the downsides to it? They're high in sugar. Sugar is addicting. It's hyper rewarding and leads to overconsumption. So it's kind of like that Lay's potato chip commercial. You can't just eat one. You want more and more of this processed stuff. It contains all sorts of artificial ingredients. You can't even pronounce probably half of what's in it, much less expect my body to digest it. High in refined carbohydrates, low in nutrients, and high in fat. So we always want to try to avoid processed foods if possible. Processed foods tend to be on the inside of the grocery store, and all your vegetables, fruits, and meats tend to be on the outside. But okay. I'm sorry, I won't make you feel bad.
Guilt. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk about some of the things in these foods that make it unhealthy. Raisin Bran versus the oatmeal. While the calorie content is a little higher, the sugars in the Raisin Bran, 20 grams as opposed to 9 in your oatmeal. With your white bread, one slice, the calorie count, of course, is a little higher, 70 versus 50. The sodium is also higher. But what's amazing to me are these meats. I just think that it's crazy when you look at your 73.27, 30 grams of fat versus 8 grams in the lean. You're looking at 340 calories per serving, and that's a 4-ounce serving, as opposed to 170 of the lean meat. Now, in your canned goods, you know, sometimes canned goods are really cheap, and sometimes, you know, people think, well, I can eat that, and it may be a better alternative. The sodium content in those guys are what gets us. So frozen, of course, is a better route if you can afford to go that way. The sodium content is 350 milligrams in a can of asparagus as compared to 3 in fresh asparagus. On the chicken over here now, you're looking at a 4-ounce serving, again, 250 calories for one as opposed to 130 of the breast. Fat, 19 grams as opposed to 3. So it just kind of gives you an idea of, you know, the nutrient content in these products. Okay, so the Food and Research Action Center is the leading national nonprofit organization working to eradicate hunger in the United States. They've been tagged as the premier anti-hunger group in Washington. So this is very interesting. In 2007, they decided that they were going to do the challenge for some of the congressmen and women. So the average food stamp benefit at that time was $3 a day. So one meal cost $1. So they asked the people $21 for your meal for the week. So they sent these people who agreed to take the challenge out to buy their nutritious food that had to avoid hunger, afford nutritious food, and stay healthy for 1 week with $21. I just want to read to you a couple of the comments that came back. This is really a challenge. There's a lot of people in this country who go through this every day. That's Representative Emerson from Missouri. It showed me, this is U.S. Representative Tim Ryan. It showed me